where the trees are all.
Good evening.
Nothing.
I will call this Township Council agenda meeting of November 9th, 2021 to order at 7 p.m.
Oh, no, you're getting ready to construction.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing a notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the municipal building on December 18th, 2020, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record and the Newark Star Ledger on December 22nd, 2020, and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers on December 18th, 2020. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision Public Access Channel 21 at 11 a.m. on Sundays, and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net. Would you all join me in a flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Karifi? Here. Ms. Grignani?
Here.
Ms. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Also in attendance are Mayor Michael Soriano, Business Administrator Fred Carr, CFO Juan Uribe, Township Attorney Jim Lott, and Township Clerk Colette Madden. Council President, we have a quorum. You may begin.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings, November 23rd, 2021 at 7 p.m. Regular meeting, December 7th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Agenda meeting. The approval of minutes we will do at our regular meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay. Mayor, you're up.
Sounds like I'm playing baseball when you say it like that. Okay, so bullet points that I have for today. COVID-19 cases numbers as of the 8th of November. Total number of cases in Parsippany stands at 4,881. This is an increase of just 21 new cases in the past week. At the previous council meeting, we were at 42 new cases. Now we're at 21, so it's a fantastic downtrend. Vaccinations in Parsippany as of the 3rd of November. People with one shot, 84% of all eligible Parsippany residents have at least one shot. This does not include the ages 5 to 11 yet. We don't have those numbers. Over 99% of all Parsippany residents age 65 have at least one shot. 99%. That's pretty good. Fully vaccinated. 77% of all eligible residents have been fully vaccinated. Over 99% of residents age 65 and over have been fully vaccinated. It's within a statistical margin of error. So there you go. So look, as I've said many times before, if you have vaccine hesitancy, talk to your doctor. Don't listen to commercials, Facebook, activists, politicians, basketball players, whatever about vaccines. Talk to your doctor. It's the only person you should trust when it comes to this stuff. This Thursday is Veterans Day. 11/11 at 11. Same date, same time, same month, every time. Never changes. So please join me at Veterans Park. I want to invite all Parsippany residents to help the township honor and celebrate our Veterans Day this Thursday, 11 at 11 at 11 o'clock at Veterans Park. The ceremony is going to be live streamed on social media and broadcast on Video on the Go, Channel 21. For more information, go to parsippany.net. I just want to stress to you that since our nation's founding, we've turned to our brave military to protect us from the world's most dire circumstances. Veterans Day is our annual celebration of their valor, courage, and sacrifice. It's with those thoughts in mind that the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills will say thank you to our veterans again. I ask everyone in the township to join us. Now, the Public Works Department, do we still have this up here? Yes, we do. The Public Works Department is still looking for people to come work. The DPW is union represented, open positions in the following divisions: sanitation, recycling, streets and roads, parks, and forestry. Now, it's more than just the salary. You got to keep this in mind. Health insurance, pension, paid time off, government holidays, and more available for those seeking employment with the township. So please get the word out there. Interested applicants can contact the Township of Parsippany Department of Public Works or call Marge at 973-263-7273. Or email mwolk, that's W-O-E-L-K, mwolk @parsippany.net. So the Table of Hope that's been helping us feed people throughout the township since March of 2020 has a Thanksgiving food distribution that's going on. It's Table of Hope's mobile food delivery. It won't be in Parsippany the week of Thanksgiving. Instead, it'll be hosted food distribution on Friday, November 19th at the County College of Morris parking lot in Randolph from 1 o'clock to 2:30. Any questions? Call 973-998-9330. Now, the Siwa organization is, for Diwali is organizing a food drive to benefit the food pantry. Between now and November 21st, Siwa Diwali is leading a food drive campaign to donate food to Parsippany's food pantry. During these colder days, food security becomes even more crucial and challenging for residents who have found themselves in hardship. Drop off food at the main branch library on Halsey Road or at the food pantry located at 1130 Knoll Road. Find out how you can donate food by calling the community center at 973-263-7163. And that's all I have on the report. And now for a special presentation. Check 1, 2. I've said this before as we've started donating these plaques, that service is more important than party. And with that, I would like to call Mayor-elect James Barbario up. Right here. We are here tonight to honor our fallen brother, Vincent Ferrara. And before I read the proclamation, I would like Mayor Barbario to speak about his friend.
Well, I want to thank, and I'm very honored that you called me up here, because Vinny was a very dear friend of mine, who I miss very much. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
During this election, I must have drove by your house. I can't tell you how many times, just hoping he would come out. I love him. He's a good man. He was great for the town. He was a good person. And he left this earth too soon. I'm sorry. I mean, he was a great man, and it's just a different world without him. That's all I really can say. It's not the same, but we rebound, and we have our families, we have our friends, and that's what makes it so wonderful. And then that's how I remember Vinny. Vinny was a great guy. Sometimes he yelled at me. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of times he yelled at me. But he did it because he loved me, and I reciprocate that back. And I miss him. I miss my dear friend. I really do. So, Emery, I love your whole entire family. So, thank you, Mayor.
No. Will Vincent's family please come up and join me? Thank you for being here. I'd like to read this proclamation into the record. Whereas the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills honors the late Vincent Ferrara as an extraordinary example of a man who dedicated his life to public service in his township, state, and country. Whereas he was born in Caposoli, Italy, and immigrating to the United States in 1972, Vincent took great pride in both American citizenship and his Italian heritage. He was instrumental in bringing Polizia di Stato de America to march in Columbus Day parades in New York and New Jersey. Whereas since moving to Parsippany in 1996, Vincent was involved with the Sons of Italy Lodge, the Parsippany Republican Club, the Parsippany Republican Committee, the Parsippany Soccer Club, and a member of the Livingston Elks Lodge. And whereas he served his community as a member of the Township Council from 2011 to 2013. And during his term, he served as a liaison to the Environmental Committee, Parsippany Area Chamber of Commerce, Municipal Alliance Committee, and the Economic Advisory Committee, as well as serving on the Parsippany-Troy Hills Planning Board. Now therefore, I, Michael A. Soriano, Mayor of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, do hereby dedicate this plaque that we'll unveil in a moment, in honor and present this proclamation on behalf of the residents of Parsippany-Troy Hills as a token of respect and admiration for Vincent Ferrara, and urge the residents of our community to follow his example of service and accomplishment. Dated this 9th of November, 2021. Congratulations, Vincent, wherever you are.
Mayor, before you go out, Mayor Soriano, before we go out, I'd like to have a word. You have the photos. I'd like to say a few words, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, let's do it. Can't wait for the press, man.
Well, go ahead. Do that first.
Do that first one. Mr. Council President, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I first met Vinnie when he joined the Sons of Italy. He's been a good friend ever since. From my contact with him, I know he was a dedicated family man. He loved his family dearly. When he served up here with us, he was a dedicated councilman, dedicated in the community. His passing is not just a loss to his family, but it's a loss to Parsippany. I miss him. We all miss him.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Now, please join us in the hallway. So you're pretty tall, young man. Come here. Can you reach that thumbtack? Okay, not yet. Not yet. Okay. No, you come right here next to your son. And Barbarian, come right here. Now, press, come right there. There you go. Oh, send me with the crook. Okay.
You're just not in it, right?
You gotta lose weight, Mike.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so, you got that one? On three. 1, 2, 3. In memory of Councilman Vincent Ferrara, January 1st to 2011 to December 31st, 2015. God bless you, Vinnie. Mr. Council President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you. Oh, man, please. Yeah.
I'm telling them, we're getting closer to, I know I am, I'm getting closer to my file. It's just grand, so I got that. Feel real weird. No, yeah.
Okay, before we get back to our regular agenda, we're gonna, diverse for a moment. We're gonna go into closed session for one item. It will not be a long time. Then we will come out, take action on that item, and then continue on with our regular agenda. So don't go away, we'll be right back.
Sounds like a commercial.
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the Township Council wishes to discuss attorney-client privilege, litigation, global settlement, Superior Officers PBA 131A-Karifi Perk Matters, and Karifi versus the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills et al., Karifi 1, and whereas minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires confidentiality, the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills that the public be excluded from this meeting. Motion to adjourn in a closed session by myself.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
I'll abstain.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
We'll adjourn momentarily and action will be taken after this.
Oh my goodness, can I stand too, huh? No, you did R 2021:165. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills approving settlement in all Carriffy matters. Whereas the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, the Township, is a party to litigation bearing docket number James Carriffy versus Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills et al., docket number MRS-L-2938-11, the Carriffy 1, and whereas PBA Local 131A, Superior Officers Association, SOA, filed an arbitration alleging violations of the collective bargaining agreement as it is related to the provisions governing payment of unused leave balances to Mr. Carriffy, which is captured before the Public Employment Relations Commission as Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills and PBA Local 131A, SOA, PERC docket number AR-2019-325, the leave balance arbitration, quote unquote. And whereas the SOA filed a grievance against the Township, PERC docket number AR-2021151, letter of good standing arbitration, alleging that it breached the collective bargaining agreement and well-established past practice by refusing to provide Police Captain Carriffy with a letter confirming he retired in good standing, and whereas the SOA filed a Step 2 grievance legal fee indemnification arbitration against the Township, alleging that it has refused Carriffy's request for reimbursement of his legal defense costs arising from work-related administrative and criminal charges that have been filed, and whereas the leave balance arbitration, letter of good standing arbitration, and legal fee indemnification arbitration shall collectively be referred to herein as PERC claims, and whereas as direction of the Mayor and Township Council, Special Litigation Counsel for the Township of, and the Township Attorney have engaged in settlement negotiations with the attorney for Mr. Carriffy, and whereas said negotiation has resulted in a comprehensive settlement of all matters, including Carriffy 1 and the PERC claims, in exchange for a settlement amount not to exceed $1 million as allotted between the Township and the Morris County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund and Garden State Municipal Joint Insurance Fund and their respective excess insurance carriers, and as well be more particularly set forth in a form of release and settlement agreement that is substantially similar to the one attached here and will be between Mr. Carriffy, the Township, and the SOA in its role as grievance in the PERC claims. And whereas the aforementioned settlement is contingent upon the SOA's dismissal of the PERC claims with prejudice, and whereas the Mayor and Township Council have been briefed on the status of all Carriffy-related matters involving litigation, insurance coverage, and the like, and whereas the Morris County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund and Garden State Municipal Joint Insurance Fund have reviewed and approved the settlement reflected in the proposed form of release and settlement agreement, and whereas the Mayor and Township Council have reviewed the settlement reflected in the proposed form of release and settlement agreement and wish to approve same, and whereas the Mayor and the Township Council have determined that said settlement is in the best interest of the Township and avoids the burden, expense, delay, and uncertainties of future litigation and/or the continuance of the PERC claims. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in the County of Morris and the State of New Jersey that the above recitals are hereby incorporated by reference, and the settlement is hereby approved in accordance with the terms set forth in the attached proposed form release and settlement agreement. The Mayor and Township Clerk are hereby authorized to execute and release and settlement agreement. Be it further resolved, the Township Council hereby authorizes and approves any modifications to legal language of the proposed form of release and settlement agreement as may be recommended and approved by Special Litigation Counsel for the township and the township attorney prior to execution. Be it further resolved that special litigation counsel for the township is hereby authorized and directed to effect said settlement. Be it further resolved that all township officials and employees are hereby authorized and directed to take all action necessary and appropriate to effectuate the terms of this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
So, motion was made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peter. This motion is for R 2021-165, approving settlement in all Karifi matters. Roll call, Mr. Karifi is recused. Ms. Grignani?
Yes?
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now, for the public's information, the breakdown for that $1 million. We had two insurance carriers involved. One that would have to go back to court with him on Karifi 1. They've offered to put up $500,000 so they don't have to go back to court. The other carrier threw in $50,000, so they would be absolved of their responsibilities and some of the Karifi lawsuits. The township obligation is accrued sick leave and vacation days, which we've held in abeyance all this time, is $368,000. That's money that he has earned. We agreed to pay some interest, bringing that up to $400,000. And then we made up the difference of another $50,000 to close the deal, and that's the total $1 million. So it cost the town, including interest on the $368 we held back, it cost the town $82,000 over a 10-year lawsuit. Okay, moving on. Township engineers report.
We didn't do the attorney.
Oh, we're gonna go down the list first, okay. Anyone on the council have a report?
Not at this time.
Township attorney, closed session?
I have several items for closed session,
Right.
and I have one additional item I'd like to add. That's a settlement recommendation in Rosollo Addison v. Township, Morris County docket number MRS-L-1834-21. I promise I will be brief. I know that there was a lot on the closed session agenda.
Okay. I thought it was on the, closed session. I took it off for a vote.
I took it off.
We should talk about it in closed session first.
Exactly, so that's why I took it off. It was supposed to be voted before we got to closed session.
Oh, no. We can talk about it and then vote at the next meeting. If that's what council wants to do.
Okay. Business administrator?
Yes, Council President, we have the Whippany River Watershed Action Committee presentation, sir? Ma'am?
You're gonna need some lights out, or is that good enough?
Yeah, first I'll talk and then five minutes to show that.
Okay.
My name is Steve Canada. I'm Chair of the Whippany River Watershed Action Committee.
Sir, could you use the
have to
microphone
use
so
the
we can all hear you?
microphone.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Siva Janata. I'm the Chair of the Whippany River Watershed Action Committee. I'm here with the facilitator, Allison Deeb, and we're just showing you a map of the watershed. The Whippany River is here on the lower part.
Can I make a suggestion?
Turn it around.
Take the microphone with you and stand over there so the audience can see too.
Okay. So this is the map of the Whippany River watershed. It's not just the river. The river is in the southern part right here, but it's the landmass around the river. And so the river starts here in Mendham, and then it flows through Morristown, through Hanover, and it ends in Parsippany in East Hanover towards the west. It empties into the Rockaway River, which then empties into the Passaic River, which then goes into over the Patterson Falls and into Newark Bay. So this is just a visual view of it, and then I'll talk about the watershed itself through the slideshow. Okay? Thank you. So I'm going to talk about what the Whippany River watershed, give you an overview of it, and then what for Earth's freshwater supply, and also what a watershed is, because most people don't know.
Could you put the microphone closer to your mouth so you could, yeah,
Okay.
so it gets recorded?
And then also then the problems that we have, and then the solutions. And then what can you do about it? The Whippany River watershed is all volunteer. We're stewards of the watershed, and we're a broad-based community action. We go work with projects, education, which is what I'm doing now, and we do our ongoing assessments. And these are the municipalities, and you can see Parsippany-Troy Hills is one of them. There are 16 municipalities that have part of the watershed in them. And this is a historical map. You can see that the river goes through many historical sites in Morris County. And it's the only river within Morris County. And it's 16 miles long, so it's not a big river. It's not like the Passaic or the Rockaway, but it's still important. And last year during COVID, I had to get out of the house. What did I do? I went around the watershed. So I'm going to show you a little slideshow. This is where the Whippany River starts. The spring is, there's a vernal spring on the lower left-hand corner there. And this is Harmony Brook, which is where the Kai Potts Reservoir is. That's also in Mendham. And then there's a Dismal Brook. And I like to joke, the Passaic River has the Great Swamp. We have the Dismal Swamp. And then it goes through Patriots Path in the west, which is near Jockey Hollow. And it goes through Speedwell Lake, where the telegraph was invented, and Patriots Path to the east, where Washington's headquarters is. So, and speaking of history, there's the Whippany Burial Grounds in Hanover. And then you get Troy Brook in Parsippany, and the Whippany River itself in Parsippany, where it empties into the Great Peace Meadows. So you guys play a very big part in the watershed. But then what part of the Earth's water is available for human consumption? So how much of it is fresh water? Only 3% is fresh water, and of that is glaciers, rivers, and lakes. But of that, only 2% of our fresh water in the world is rivers. So what is a watershed? A watershed is a large basin of land that drains into the body of water. And this is an illustration of that. And you can see there on the right-hand side, there's an aquifer. Aquifer is where we do groundwater recharge. And that's important because this is where a watershed is, the water supply is regenerated, which is the groundwater recharge, and which is very important to do. And there's an illustration of that, because where do we get our water? We get it through the aquifers mostly. Now, New Jersey is full of watersheds, and we're separated by 20 watershed management areas. We are located in Watershed Management Area 6, where the Rockaway River is up north, Whippany River is in the central, and the Upper Passaic River, where the Great Swamp is located, is south. But watershed management is one of the big things that we do in Whippany River watershed. And we want to protect, maintain, and improve the quality and quantity of our water resources. And we do that by encouraging groundwater, prevent water quality degradation, and protect our public drinking water. We also want to mitigate flooding, which is one of our ongoing projects. And as you might know about stormwater management, I mean, we had Ida just a couple of months ago, and there was heavy flooding. I'm sure affected many of you people here. But we also do recreational opportunities, which I can just mention. So you want to get to know your watershed, your Whippany River watershed, and part of it is to understand water pollution. There's two sources, point source and non-point source. Point source is something like a factory. And I think where the Whippany River emptied into the Rockaway, there used to be a garbage dump right there. It closed, I think, in the late 80s. But that was a definite example of point source. But now they're thinking that's where your recycling center is. And this is examples of non-point source. So non-point source is what we do, and this is what we can control or try to control. And that's one of the things we try to do through our projects and our programs, so projects and rain gardens and the internship program. And for example, we have the rain gardens here. The Whippany Libraries in Hanover. The Birchwood Lake is in is in mountain lakes. One was 2019, one was just last year. But Parsippany, right here, you have 2 rain gardens right in front of you and 2 rain gardens right in the back. So you have 4 rain gardens right here. One of the things that we try to do is try to maintain it. So that's where we can come in. If you need maintenance, just let us know. We try to work with you for that.
That's good.
And rain gardens are important because wherever you have standing water, you want to have a rain garden so the water does not stay there for too long. So you want to prevent mosquitoes from breeding or anything like that. So the water will then seep through and you don't get pooling of water. We try to prevent that. We also have a chronologue in Speedwell Lake. It's the very first chronologue in New Jersey, and you can see over a year's time, we did it last year, so over a year's time, you can see the Speedwell Lake through the years, but we're also looking for places around the county to put a chronologue. So if anybody has a nice scenic place you want to follow, just let us know, we'll help put that in there. And community involvement, that's why we're here. We want to try to get
Let
you
me ask you a silly question. What's a chronologue?
a chronologue. You see, you can take your,
What are you pointing to?
let's see.
So a chronologue is a time-lapse device. If you look at the left side here, it basically allows you to upload a picture that you would take with your smartphone. And what people do is they take this picture right here, which is of Speedwell Lake, and it's a very iconic picture. You might see it on a lot of calendars and everything. So if you go to our website, www.WRWAC, that's our acronym, WRWAC. It sounds like something from Dr. Seuss, but it's not. It stands for the Whippany River Watershed Action Committee, which is an organization now 20 years old that was created by the NJDEP through enabling legislation. We were one of the first groups to actually protect a watershed. So what you can do is you take a picture and it creates this time lapse. So if you go to our website, you'll see all the pictures that people take. And what's great about Chronologue, not only were we the first one in New Jersey, everything's about community engagement, right? With parks and everything. It's all about engagement. When you talk to Parks and Recreation, they want to know, well, how many visitors have you engaged? How many visitors have been to your parks? So it's all community engagement. This is Community Engagement 101, because what you're doing is the visitors, the young people, they all have their phones, and they take pictures, and it engages them with the park. So
Okay.
that's what Chronologue is.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Sure. Did you want me to start? When?
And then we do river cleanups, and we did them in Morristown. We did them in Parsippany as well. This is what we did at Morristown Bethel AME Church. We've been doing it since 2012. We didn't do it last year, but we did do one in May this year, and we'll continue doing it. But we also wanted to help you do any river cleanups, so please let us know about that. And then this year, we just did a BioBlitz, and I think I'll give it to Allison because Allison was instrumental with this.
Thank you. So for those of you that don't know me, I don't know which way to go, to our honored council or to our spectators here. But first of all, members of the council, thank you for allowing us to be on your agenda tonight. I know you have a packed plan, and I'll try and keep my comments brief. I kind of know what I want to say, so I'm not really a PowerPoint person. I'm much more of a talk to a person, eye contact kind of person. So I was hired to replace two previous facilitators, but mainly Art Vespignani, who was the facilitator for over 10 years and was one of the founding members. And as you know, Art was a member of your governing body, was my mentor. I've been with the organization for 10 years. It's my passion. And I was brought in when Art was the facilitator as the mayoral appointee in Morristown, and then was hired to be the administrator in 2016. And now I'm honored to be the facilitator. So what I do is I work with our board, like Siva is our chair this year, Siva Janata. I work with the board members, and I have the best job, right? As Art would say, I get to ask nicely and politely the board members tell them what to do, and then they do it, and it's wonderful. It's the best job in the world. So we do river cleanups, to help the watershed to accomplish our mission, which is preserve, protect, maintain the watershed. And last year, we launched a BioBlitz. So what is a BioBlitz? A BioBlitz is a 24-hour assessment, but you can do it in a day. You don't have to do 24 hours, to measure the biodiversity of an area. So last year, we identified 35 bird species in one day at this site at Lewis Morris County Park, as well as over 100 different plants, wildlife, animals, and what have you. So it was a wonderful day. We had over 150 participants. Your town was very active, and we're very grateful. SIWA was very active, SIWA International, and your green team. So we were grateful to have your participation. And this year, it's not official yet, but we're looking to have it the first week in June. And we'd love to see some of you there. It's a great day, and it's a lot of fun. And certainly, you can go to our website and read more about it. So do I have the clicker? So this was another big project we orchestrated this year. We removed a dumpster from the Whippany River that had been there since Hurricane Sandy. Irene, 10 years ago, this thing was sitting in there just collecting, not dust, no, pollution. It was rusting into the river. And as Siva said, this river is a source of drinking water for 1.2 million people down the road, down the river. So we were so happy to get this out of here at no cost to taxpayers. It was strictly a private, public, quasi arrangement where our intern's father knew someone who could get rid of this thing. That's what they did for a living. So it really empowered the youth. It got our intern's father saw the intern working on something. He said, "What are you doing? Dumpster removal? What is this?" And then lo and behold, his company connected us with his subcontractor, Kyle Conti Construction, and they came in with huge equipment and got it out of the river safely, quickly, efficiently. And we had an estimate that was $10,000 that, we're a very small nonprofit, so $10,000 was a lot of money to us. They did it at no cost to us, pro bono. It was a great day. We were just rejoicing. And there's a picture of Siva on News Channel 12 being interviewed on the far left, so it was very exciting. Next slide. So Siva said we do recreation. That's our annual kayak trip. Educational programs, and there's Art there on the left. So Art, as you know, he was a Jeopardy champion. He wasn't just on Jeopardy, he won 3 times. So we created Watershed Jeopardy. And it really engages people at our events. And so one of the things we're trying to do is electronify it so that we can get it as an electronic kind of game, if you will. So that's something that's on our docket right now that we're looking at. We have a roadside sign sponsorship program.
Allison, can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yeah.
Just so the public would know. Art Vispagnani was a councilman in Parsippany. And then he also was a mayoral candidate, didn't win, but then he also was our director of utilities for quite a few years before he went over there.
Very smart man. And so we do rain barrel workshops, stream assessments, and then I'll let Siva design this presentation. We didn't really have anything to go to the towns before, but I'll close with just saying, well, what do I do as facilitator? I have three roles. First of all, this is a very part-time job. I only work an hour a day. So it's really part-time. But my job is to do municipal outreach and fundraising and education, and to work with the towns and to try to educate the towns that, we're your watershed, right? You're in the watershed. So we have a very small program, 2 part-time people, myself and an administrator. We survive based on grants. We're a 501c3, so we can apply for grants that maybe municipalities can't, so we can get private grants. And I know Art was very successful in getting grants for us in the past. And then we also have dues. Our dues haven't changed in the 10 years that I've been with the organization. They're $1,200 a year, $100 a month. So that's all we ask to keep our program alive. And I know in the past we participated in the Parsippany Street Fair, and we've done river cleanups with the church, with Reverend Susan Sicca, and it's the, I think it's the Episcopal Church in Parsippany by Beverick Road. We've done a rain garden, helped with the rain garden there, and with cleanups. So we're really hoping in the next few years that we can revive some of these efforts, which really help to engage the youth and the community. And it's a real feel-good kind of effort where, because everybody's for clean water, everybody's for a cleaner watershed, and you can't really argue that. If you see litter on the street, we all want to pick it up. So I hope we can work together in the new year, and I look forward to working with you all, and it's wonderful to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Allison. So, just to continue, Allison has been very helpful with us. But for you, both on the days and also out here, get to know your watershed. Just look at the signs. Wherever you see these signs, that's where a watershed is. And pick up after your pet. I mean, we like our dogs. We just want to keep things clean. And I know when we were kids, we liked to feed ducks and geese, but let's not do that. And wherever you have hazardous materials, please remove them safely. And look for storm drains. I know your green team has a program with Adopt a Storm Drain, which is a very notable thing. But always assume that water that goes through a storm drain is going to end up somewhere in a water stream. Just to let you know. And finally, also, just any problems you have, just let us know, because you are our eyes and ears, not just people up here, but also people in the audience, because we need to know what's going on, and that's the best way we can help you. And these are some sponsorship opportunities like Fire Blitz teams, roadside signs, and these are just some of our sponsors. And finally, also our webpage that Allison had. On the webpage is a streaming of the river's journey, which tells the history of the watershed. But it's not just the history, but it's an ongoing process, because we not only do we want to know the history, we also want to make history. And this is our contact information. So basically, clean it, protect it, enjoy it. So thank you very much for bringing it here. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's any other questions, let me know.
Any questions from council members?
No.
Any questions from the audience? Okay, good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Best practices discussion.
Okay, we're still on business administrator.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Best practices.
So hopefully the council received the best practices inventory, and now is your opportunity to have any questions. Just in summation, there's only 27 questions. Township had 21 right answers. We've lost no money. We only had 3 negative responses. For like, we don't have any municipal EV chargers. We don't have an anti-nepotism policy, small stuff like that. 6 of the questions were only 0.5 points apiece, so though we answered them right, we only got half credit. So like my math grades in college, only got half credit.
And we had 21 points out of 27
Correct.
points? Okay.
Right, if we'd have gotten full credit for the 6
half
questions, we'd have had 24 correct answers. We had 24 correct answers at the end of the day. And we haven't lost any money, and that's the important part.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Township clerk?
No report at this time, but Council President, I just thought I'd say, since it's an agenda meeting, I don't know if you want to actually read through the entire engineering report. They could just leave it for observation.
Postpone it till next 2 weeks?
Yeah, given it's an agenda
All
meeting.
right, Paul, you're postponed.
Which folder?
Okay, I'll just announce the bids taken. 10/26/21, Craftsman Farms Log House Kitchen Restoration and Annex. We have a recommendation to, table that. I guess it was defeated, rejected,
Correct, yes, sir.
and we're gonna go out for re-advertising. To be taken, November 19th, 2021, Well Development Services, Wells 13 and 21. December 15th, 2021, Pump Station Number 4, Gravity Conversion State Loan Project. Now I'll entertain a motion to open to the public.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes,
Floor is open.
come forward, you have 5 minutes to speak. Sign in, please. State your name and address. And here's the green team herself.
Good evening. This is good, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, good.
Not touching it either. Judy Hernandez. I live on 5 Moraine Road. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to make a few remarks, given the last week and the last few years. So I'm going to read them because I just wrote them out, in the last couple of days. Parsippany has made great strides in the last few years thanks to the support from Mayor Serrano and this town council. In alignment with the master plan adopted in 2019, the Parsippany Green Team, which came in 2019, and the Parsippany Environmental Advisory Committee has made significant progress on the environmental front, working on initiatives for sustainability, budget-saving energy audits, receiving grants to build energy-saving and renewable energy projects, engaging residents on plastics, trash cleanup, keeping streets green, a digital library of public environmental presentations thanks to the help of the Parsippany Library, where's Jean Marie, and of course the Batapalooza and Green Fair, which also Whippany River tabled at, and a lot of diverse groups showed up and people of all ages. We had bats, we had kittens, it was great. Parsippany has made a Sustainable Jersey Gold Pledge for net zero emissions by 2030. We have just been recertified with Sustainable Jersey and are in Highlands Conformance again, which offers us the ability to access resources and grants that will economically benefit the municipality. An example of that assistance is with stormwater management, a problem getting more frequent and severe, especially for the residents and the municipality. We can see that from the Hills of Troy area to the Lake Hiawatha area and many other areas in our town. Tackling this will be an economic benefit to residents in the municipality. Because of your support, Parsippany has earned a reputation as an environmental leader in the region. And I'm not just making that up, it's true. So I want to thank you all, and I hope we can continue working together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you for everything you've done, Judy.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Nicholas Homiak, Lake Hiawatha. I'd like to agree with everything Judy just said. I would hope that Parsippany doesn't even have a second thought about why they're in the Highlands and how it benefits. But during the election, and I think I mentioned, when Mayor Barbario said that that Highlands was against smart growth, I don't know where he got that from. And Mr. Musella said there's good and bad. There is no good and bad. It's all good, unless you're for large corporate development that wants to cut corners at community expense. And if they have any doubts, I can have Mr. Elliot Ruga or Mr. Zachary Cole from the Highlands Coalition in Booton have a similar presentation here, and to ingrain the council with the absolute positive for Highlands conformance. The other day, there was a contractor here in the town. They're doing something with Optimum. They're splicing wires, cutting wires, throwing them in the street. I confronted the gentleman about it. They claimed that they were cleaning up. Well, I had to do my own cleanup. I checked a few spots where they were. They're leaving it in the street. So you have metal, rubber, plastic, all heading for the storm drain. Our own municipal employees in this town and everywhere, so maybe Parsippany could spread the word about conscious discipline in municipal workforces and accountability. There's no sense having supervisors if they don't keep up or observe what's going on. So this morning in Area 5, where I live, garbage men right by the library, emptying a can, there's some stuff on the curb. It would have took a half a second to pick it up, put it in the truck, they leave it. I reported 97 North Beverwick Road, another chronic violation, insecure, the garbage out early, insecure in the street. Garbage men come, they pick it up, they leave the debris in the street. It should be unacceptable, but it shows that we developed a warped norm of what we think community is. It's just a word. And it's not just a word. And with all the departments and police and everything, the United States should be one of the cleanest countries in the world, but of course it's not. So we have to strive for is more plastic bans. The plastic bag is not single-use plastic, is all over the place. Take a look on South Beverwick Road in your historic district and look on the ground and see all the plastic that's there. That's our historic district. Anyone with a sensibility or using their naked eye, when we pass that up, that should be unacceptable. That should be put on some kind of a route for the workforce to keep that area in particular, because it represents, it says Historic District Troy, Troy Brook. It's a substandard condition almost at all times. But why? Because of lack of conscious discipline in the citizenry and municipal workforces all over the place. So I would invite Mayor-elect Soriano or any, Barbario. My wish didn't come true.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything that they want to learn about the Highlands, let's have a thing here, we'll bring it here, and we'll get an education. 14% of the land mass of New Jersey's, the Highlands, 72% of the state's drinking water comes from the Highlands, and we're part of the Highlands, and we need to protect our water. All right, good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Michelle Gator, that's it, okay.
Not touching it. Michelle Gaynor, 2 Elf Court. I'm just here in agreement and support for everything Judy said. I wanted to thank the mayor, current mayor, and council for putting us back into Highlands conformance, as the Highlands has drinking water for millions of New Jersey residents. It's important that we maintain that conformance. It's also very important that we are now in sustainable Jersey again, and that we continue to be in sustainable Jersey, and that you have enabled the Green Team to do all the work that they are doing. This is what makes Parsippany a leader. There are other towns. I work for an environmental organization that works throughout the state. We see Princeton, we see Maplewood, we see Montclair, all doing things to progress their towns and to protect their citizens and their environment. So I'm glad that Parsippany stepped up and is now doing it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing no one else come forward, I entertain a motion to close.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Floor is closed.
Okay, all of the ordinances will be voted on at our next meeting. We'll hold our discussions off until then.
Want me to go?
Non-consent agenda, Loretta?
Resolutions. Resolution 2021-163, granting a major soil moving permit to RVR SA Phosphorus Removal and Filtration, Block 493, Lot 1. Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes.
R 2021-164, rejecting the bids for Craftsman's Farms Log House Kitchen Restoration and Annex Rehabilitation. Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Approval of payroll list. Janice?
Okay, CFO Juan Uribe recommends authorization for payment, authorized payment of the 11/12/21 regular payroll estimated at $1,600,000, and payment of bills from voucher list of 11/121 through 11/3/21, estimated total $2,165,920.33. Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Executive session. Whereas, resolution, whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the Township Council wishes to discuss contract negotiations, renewal of the School Resource Officer, SRO, and Class 3 Special Officer, Salio 3 agreement with Parsippany-Troy Hills Township School District, and attorney-client privilege litigation settlement proposal, Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills State versus George Nader summary penalty enforcement action, and Stanberry 1515 redevelopment agreement, proposed amendment, construction of road improvements, and attorney-client privilege threatened litigation by Barry Ellenwood, a Jayco towing incident, and attorney-client privilege leasing of public property, contract negotiations, Mount Tabor Fire Department EMS Bay, and attorney-client privilege provision of EMS services by Township, and attorney-client privilege threatened litigation by Rafael Flores, North CC Caterers, and attorney-client privilege regulation of the retail sale of tobacco and CBD, and attorney-client privilege litigation PAL Hut LLC Johnson East versus Anthony Bonavita-Cola individually and in his capacity as PAL Director, request for defense by Anthony Bonavita-Cola, and attorney-client privilege threatened litigation Richard Patina versus the Township of Troy Hills et al. Notice of tort claim. And whereas minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires confidentiality, the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills that the public be excluded from this meeting. Motion to adjourn in a closed session by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy? Ms.
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now, this is going to be a very long closed session.
Yes.
No action will be taken on any of these items when we come out. So, I don't expect you all to sit around, but if you want to, feel free.
Let's, get a...
All right, motion made by, Ms. Grignani, seconded by Mr. Karifi to reconvene into open session.
Make a motion.
Hold on, I need to do roll call. Roll call, Mr. Karifi?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Fantastic. Can I have a motion for adjournment, please?
Adjournment?
Yes. Motion by Mr. Karifi?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. Karifi?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Have a good night.
All right.
And Mr. DePiero.
All right, everybody. Good night.